surfer. I had a skateboard. I was so heavy, man, I lived on the Strand. I was so wasted. I was so fucked up. I was so messed up. I was so screwed up. I was out of my head. I was so jacked up. I was so drugged up. I was so napped out. I was out of my head. I was so wasted. I was wasted.
My name is Lance Mountain. I'm a professional skateboarder. I'm here in Japan to do an art show called On My Wall, brought to you by STÜSSY. It is paintings of many of my favorite skateboarders when I was a kid. The reason I did these paintings and brought those skaters out is because some of those skaters are in these paintings. And the reason I did these paintings, each one individually has a reason why I did a painting of them. But they all were photographs that I pulled out of the magazine from 77 to 80 and taped on my wall when I was a kid. When I moved, I pulled them off the wall and put them in a file, and I kept them for years and years and years. And there's still these iconic photos and images that made me fall in love with skateboarding, and I started painting them in 2000. So when it came down to it, I chose Steve Alba to come skate, Steve Olson to come skate, Brad Bowman, and my friend Pat Ngoho. Pat has consistently stayed with the style of skateboarding that represents that era and has skated really hard. I thought he would be a great person to come and bring that session, and he's part of that. He's just part of that era in time. A lot of that era in time was based upon being creative and having a aesthetic and a style and a creative art piece to this whole thing. And years ago, Pat, Olson, and I started these art shows that we wanted to do skateboarding and art, and show why and how this whole thing developed. And so when it came down to we actually got to do it, I wasn't going to leave Pat out, because he was part of the original. We always talked about, oh, it'd be so good to take and build pools around the world and plan them there, take some rides, show like this is our style and era, and then leave them and go do it again. They individually all brought something very creatively to skateboarding. Well, Steve Alba, let's start with Steve Alba. He won the very first pool contest that they ever had in '77. He won the first one. So he is the first winner of a pool contest. And he's also, in backyards, created most of the lines anyone does, the way you do it. A lot of people would start skating, you go over the light, and you kick turn, you carve, and then once all those basics are there, you start like figuring out, I want to go over the light, back over this box, over that thing, and they design and create lines. And Salba is the one who basically designed all those lines. He did them first, and everyone has copied those lines since. They might do new tricks in them, but the way you do it, he owns that. And Steve Olson, Skater of the Year in '78. He's the skateboarder that brought the aesthetic and the style and the look, basically like the punk, Vivian Westwood, the Ramones, just Levi's and T-shirts back to skateboarding when it was very uniform, and it's something that has stuck for years, but it came from Steve, and so he created that look and style that has stuck with skateboarding. And Brad Bowman was he just looked so good on a skateboard, and his photos in the magazines were always they're gorgeous, they're perfect looking, and he was a very good competitor from that era, and he's just brought a look and a style to skateboarding that mattered. And so all these guys have something, and that's why I brought them. There's value to every type of skateboarding, and we really made a name for ourselves based on no pools, spreading it out, making big walls so you could do bigger, higher tricks. And there's value to that. But there's also value to the essence and soul of it. And the essence and soul of it is turning and cutting, bottom turns, high turns. It comes from drawing a line. And when you have a flat wall, you can't draw a line, really. You go straight across, you do a trick, come straight across, you do a trick. You know, our hopes is that this pool will actually change the dynamic of pool skating in Japan. It'll open it up to, that's what we hope. Some of them have passed away since when I drew them, so they didn't see them, or yeah, Shogo Kubo passed away. Yeah, life's short, and you know, you want to thank these guys when you can. Tell them how much they mean to you, and tell the world that these people and what they did at a certain time, whether it be short or whatever, how big or how small or how many people knew, meant the world to us as kids, and it gave us a life and a love for skateboarding that caused us to say we're not going to let it go away, and we're able to have families and even have a skateboard family because of them.